Hello, I'm Deborah Malone, founder of The Internationalist and host of Internationalist Marketing TV. Today's guest is Manos Spanos, Chief Commercial Officer of Sunny Sky Products, a leading producer of beverage solutions. Manos, what a pleasure to see you, even if virtually. It's always a joy reconnecting with old friends, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Feeling is mutual as always. Love sharing insights and having great discussions with you.
Well, you're terrific because you have been through so many different roles, and your expertise only keeps growing. So, look, why don't we start by saying something that I think has been true for you for a very long time, that you've always been motivated throughout your career by the intersection of marketing, innovation, and technology. And that's true whether you're working for a large multinational or for just a startup. So just talk a little bit about what those elements mean to your role personally and to the brands that you work with.
Of course. Well, that's the fun part of marketing, right? Being in the forefront of innovation and doing things in the new ways and leveraging all the phenomenal technology that has been, coming at us very quickly. But never forgetting the basics, the fundamentals of marketing, the core principles that we learned at business school, which are still there. No one is going to take away the four P's of Kotler: product, price, placement, promotion, no matter how many years pass by, no matter how many AI technologies hit us. So that intersection is very exciting, and that's why I love it. But at the same time, it's also a necessity. It's a necessity because if you do not keep up with the times will eat you. It's pretty and straightforward. And I've had the pleasure, as you said, to have experienced this in many different avenues, and from startups to big multinational companies, middle-sized, all different parts of the spectrum. And I will tell you that the fundamentals never change. They're all the same, no matter the size of the company, no matter the type of the brands that you have. The fundamentals keep being the same. The nuances change, but staying upfront with technology and making sure you keep up with the times is something that is universal wherever you are. So I try to do that. I think there's a role for education. There's a role for discussions and podcasts like this to get people to stay up to date with what's happening, hear from colleagues, share experiences, share learnings. I mean, we're not going back to university anytime soon, but talking with other people in the industry is our university, right? So I find very big value to these discussions, and that's why I love having them.
No, and it's the other thing that I also find is that it seems that marketers trust other marketers,
Mhm.
because they really do understand what you go through. Although I would say that this job is a little bit different for you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're chief commercial officer for Sunny Sky Products. You oversee marketing, sales, R&D, and you lead a team of 100. Now, I understand that you're managing a set of licensed brands, and that could include very large brands like Hershey's, as well as in-house brands that actually might be competing in the same segment. So this feels a little bit more like B2B than B2C. I'm not sure though, because you always make it seem easy. And I know that's a skill. But you talk about fundamentals, you talk about some of this. Just talk about this role and what you've taken from other roles and why this might be a little different.
Yeah. Well, when you do something you love, it never feels like a job, right? It just feels like a hobby. And B2B or B2C, again, the principles do not change. Now, okay, granted, the role that I have at Sunny Sky is a bit more executive in nature, as you say, combines marketing, sales, and R&D. So it's a lot more around people leadership and making sure you've got the right teams in place, growing the teams, have the structure, the processes. And what is happening is I'm leveraging, I've seen how it looks at the big level. I've seen how it looks at the PepsiCos of the world, J&J's, Danone's of the world. So I can take the best of that and translate it to a company that's more like a mid-cap company, right? That's in a very high growth mode, but it's still developing those processes, developing the team, scaling. So I can take the learning from the big and take the best of that, hopefully, and apply it to the mid-sized company and help it get there faster, get there in a better way, more seamless way. So that's one element that is a little bit different. That we're talking more of an executive role rather than just a core marketing role. But when you go within the principle of marketing, again, I think the marketing side of thing is pretty similar. The tools change, the targeting changes, but the way you think is the same. At the same time, what is B2B? We're talking to humans. A buyer is a human. A buyer is no different than a consumer. The buyer is a consumer. So talking to buyer groups, and you have to follow the exact same principles. You have to have great insights and understand and get those insights very quickly and react very quickly to them. And I'm sure we're going to talk later about the role of technology and AI and all of those good things in doing that. Then you have to translate that in the right briefs for the agencies, whether it's a creative agency or the media agency. Now the speed might differ. The mediums that you use might differ. So yeah, sure, in a B2B world, we'll use more LinkedIn than we will use Insta. But again, the fundamental basics don't change. So you get the insights, you get the briefs. I think humans will always be the ones that create the creative. I think AI can help us optimize, but it just cannot create the actual creative. And then you have to leverage the technology to very quickly put out your things, then be able to understand the performance, the impact, the KPIs, and then use the human brain to assess what's happening and move forward. So principles don't change, targeting changes, people side of things, marketing side of things. I think there's a way to get the learnings from the big and apply it to the small.
Now, you make a lot of points. You make a lot of great points that I know we're going to touch on in just a sec, whether that's technology or people or leadership. And I know those are core to your business values. Just before we get into that, just tell us a little bit more about Sunny Sky. And I know that you've been I follow you, of course, on LinkedIn, and you've been posting some things about trends in the business in the beverage industry, in the beverage business. And I'm just, as someone who had spent a lot of time in Japan and always marveled at their hot and cold beverages and vending machines on every street corner. I'd be curious as to what you see as the trends today. So let's start there, and then let's dig in a little bit more deeply into the marketing side.
Oh, of course. Let me give you the 2 seconds overview, the 2 minute overview of Sunny Sky. So we are a company that both you and your audience have tried a lot of our products. You just don't know about it because we're a well-kept secret. We're a B2B dispensed beverage manufacturer, which means we provide the drinks for both the C-store industry, as well as dining, hospitality, and leisure, as well as enterprise and specialty, B&I, military, et cetera, et cetera. So, and we do that across all the beverage categories. What sets us apart from the competition is that we touch the full spectrum, whether you go from hot products like hot chocolates, and hot coffees, cappuccinos, etc., to cold type of products, so your carbonated soft drinks, so your CSDs, your juices, refreshers, cold coffee, like cold brew, which is one of our specialties, all the way to frozen products. So we do slushies, we do smoothies, we do soft serve, so we touch the whole spectrum, and all the way to the end to enhancers. So we do great syrups, we do toppers, we do marshmallows, we do bobas, we do all sorts of stuff. So we touch the full spectrum of products in the beverage industry, and we provide those either through licensed brands, as you mentioned. So we have very big partnerships with Hershey, for example, or we have the Hershey brands on the chocolate side as well as the coffee side. We have Jolly Ranchers from Hershey. We also have a partnership with Sour Patch Kids on the FUB and FCB side of things. Twizzlers, you name it. We are the exclusive distributor for dispensed Jarritos in the US, which is a very big brand for Hispanic audiences. And then we have our own products, so our own line of products, which, as you very well said, sometimes might even compete with those products. So we have our own coffees, we have our own hot chocolates, we have our own slushies and smoothies. We have some phenomenal refreshers like Dr. Smoothie refreshers and smoothies, but also bar mixes. So we have our a very famous line of bar mixes, and you would see us in play. You're already trying our product, so if you ever had a margarita from Margaritaville, probably arguably the best margarita in the world, that's our product. That's our base. If you've had a cold brew at 7-Eleven, you've had our product. If you've ever been to Fontainebleau or Sandals Resorts and you've had a smoothie there, that's our product. So again, lots of customers, lots of industries. We cut across. We do everything in house. 6 manufacturing facilities in the U.S. So everything produced in-house with incredible capability, cold fill, which is very usual in the industry, but also hot fill capability for clean label products. We have aseptic capability for doing long shelf stable products in a very clean way. Again, powder capability, we have powder products. So we cut across the spectrum in those 6 plants that we have, and we serve the whole industry. So, and I think one thing that is switching over to the trend side of things, I think one thing that's working very much in our favor is the evolution of the taste of the consumer from the more standardized type of products like your colas, like your flavor CSDs, to a lot more customization, to a lot more flavor trials. The growth that we are seeing in the market in, custom drinks, or the things that we see growing in the boba side of things. There's the bubble tea that is growing very quickly. And cold beverages in general has seen a huge uplift. Hot is struggling. So, hot coffee, hot chocolate is struggling a little bit, but people are moving very fast into cold, in the cold side of things. It's not a coincidence that in Starbucks, after, I believe it's like 2 p.m., 70% of the beverages is cold. So huge trend there on the cold, very big trend on customization. Again, not a coincidence that people like Dutch Brothers, Ziggy, Scooters, or now, McDonald's with the Cosmax. They're all going down that path of customization, custom drinks, different choices for the consumer. So that's really big. Nostalgia is also coming back. Dirty sodas. A lot of action there in that side. Functional has always been there, and health and wellness has always been there. So probiotics, health, low sugar products, protein. I think the change that is happening though on those, so those have been there for, I don't know, God, like the last 10 years we've been saying, oh my God, they're growing year after year. I think there is a switch happening right now, which is we're moving from that being a very good, talking point for consumers to now actually being actioned, which means people actually buying these things, right? Okay, low sugar beverages, we always said they were growing, but not as fast. Everybody was saying about health, but they were not willing to pay that extra dollar or $1.50 to get the protein drink or get the healthy drink. I think what's happening right now is they're actually paying. Um, Probably because because also it was getting, the prices were getting completely out of control. People got used to those high prices, so now they were able to pay that premium, and it doesn't look that much different from what it was before. So that's what I think is happening: a shift from hot to cold, a shift to customization, and then I think like a real switch into people taking action on things like protein, functional, as well as low sugar type of products. So that's what I think is happening in the market.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot to juggle at once. But I recall that you've never had trouble with juggling. As a matter of fact, you're really a big believer in turning bold ideas into realities, and I watched you do this with another beverage brand like Mountain Dew, and I used to just be amazed at the kind of ideas that you'd have. I think you were the first to even do drone racing with that, and there's so many things that when I think back of the conversations we've had, But just back to this idea of bold ideas and turning them into reality. I know that's what marketers should do. A lot of them, a lot of people find it very challenging, and maybe it's the structure within their corporation or whatever it might be. But you have that ability to make magic happen. Would you share just a little bit about where you start? I know that people are dying to know.
Yeah. Well, it's not a big secret sauce and it's not nuclear physics, but it does take work and it does take commitment, and it always starts with people. And there's, the internal side of things and the external side of things. The first thing where I start to is just build the right team. And by building the right team, I don't necessarily mean build a huge team. I mean build the right team, building a small, flexible, agile team. Never be afraid to bring in your team people that are smarter than you, and never be afraid bringing in your team people that are better in certain things than you are. Because that's the only way you're going to learn. That's the only way you're going to make a cohesive team. That's the only way you're going to move forward fast. So where I always start from is, do we have the right people at the right positions to affect change and make those tough ideas into a reality? Once that happens, once you've got that, man, it simplifies things so much. You can sell things internally much better. You can try things, which is the second piece that I think is part of the recipe for success that at least I have found in my career, which is never be afraid to try things. You have to try things. You have to break things. You have to learn from your mistakes and move very fast. So, yep, I'm a huge proponent of SpaceX and Elon and the way that business model works, which is put that darn rocket out there. It will blow up. You are gonna learn a ton of things. Next time it's up, it's not gonna blow up from the same thing. So it's kind of like that in marketing. That's what I love doing with our teams. And if you have the right team, you can do that quickly. Test, learn, adjust, move, go forward. We did the same thing, as you said, with drone racing. We done it so many times. I'm on do. We did it at Danone multiple times, and so get the right team in place. Don't be afraid to try things and learn, and then the people external side of things. Always focus at the customer. Always focus at the customer. Always focus at the customer. Get those insights pretty quickly. Understand who you're talking to, what do they want to listen to, how are they interacting with your brands. Use AI technology to do that fast and cost effectively, of course. And once you start there, and great people, great agencies, great creative, all that stuff gets created. Things go out. Once you have the budget, you execute. But again, start from the people inside, people outside, and don't be afraid to take risks. Those are the three things that I would say are absolutely necessary.
You just well said, by the way, but you just made a very interesting point about insights and focusing on the customer, and you did touch a little bit on technology and on AI. So I think let's jump in there. And I know that next week you're actually doing a talk at one of the ANA conferences, which does talk about, it's an interesting title. It's storytelling in a tech-first world. And I've heard you use this before, the art meets science tango. But let's just talk about that. Let's jump off
Yeah.
with insights. Let's talk about how AI fuels that, and then talk about your thoughts on on that very, very massive subject. And if you'll give us a little hint of what you might talk about next week.
All right, I'm not going to spoil all the beans, but
No,
but but
don't.
here's the preview. It takes two to tango, right? And I'm a very firm believer in that. When you use human intelligence, brain and heart, and artificial intelligence, the computers, and those two work hand in hand, this is where you get magic. And in the presentation, we'll go through very tangible, real life examples of how that was done, what results did it generate, and how it can be replicated. Essentially, Deb, I'm a very firm believer that AI is gonna steal no one's job. People that know how to use AI will steal a lot of people's jobs. So my very big belief is that AI is our friend, technology is our friend. You just have to learn how to use it. You have to become better and better at it. And when you do it the right way, then it can massively optimize the work. Yes, you can generate cost savings. Yes, you can be faster and more agile and do things in a different way. But again, machines by themselves is not the answer. Like a machine can optimize a creative, a machine can propose things, a machine can never think of those ideas that those wonderful creatives are coming up with. And I'll have in my talk some phenomenal examples from past work in Danone, from current work at Sunny Sky, and you will see how both work together. You need both. Sure, machine never talks, never sleeps. Machine can try things 24/7. So yeah, of course you're gonna use a machine to do your buying in media. Yeah, but you do need the human filtering things. You need to understand if something is why is something working, why is it not working. It's not just an algorithm. There's also the gut feeling there. So that art meets science tango will go through those examples. We'll go through where is the role for AI in the whole process of marketing and creating content and creating storytelling. Where does AI and technology fit? Where do the human brain fits? How do they work together? And what results do they produce? And I think the results speak by themselves. It's pretty evident, and when it's done the right way, it can lead to great results.
Well, it's wonderful to see someone feel so positive about it. And I know as an industry as a whole, we do talk about it. I think that one of the things that we've been finding in a little bit of the research we're doing among marketers is that we're now getting to see some of the beginnings of some AI frustration as more companies are trying to integrate it within all the departments on a bigger level.
Well, that's going to happen. That's
Yeah.
only going to increase. That's only going to increase because of a couple of reasons. A, there is a ton of scam out there. As with every new technology, for every 10 companies that come and tell you how they are the experts in AI, I can guarantee you seven of them are not. They're just leveraging very simple stuff. I'm not saying they're necessarily scams, but they're just not experts. They're not going to bring anything different. They're all variations of the same thing. Yeah, but there are three companies out there that are actually going to make it an impact at you. So yeah, getting through that clutter, and I think the role of the ANA is huge in getting that help, getting the frameworks, and I think that's what we're doing at the ANA. We're setting up the frameworks so that marketers can actually, get through the clutter and understand what are the right KPIs. How do I do the right brief? What do I look at? What's a list of companies that are accredited, that are companies that have actually experience in doing that. So I think a lot of the work is happening in the industry, and marketers are helping other marketers figure that thing out. Will make it will take some time, but it will become evident who is really making a difference, who isn't. And I think you touched upon something which is very, very important, and that's a very good point to emphasize. When we're talking about AI and technology, I do not think it is a departmental thing. I think it's an enterprise thing. Having different parts of the business within that world, I think that's massively unlocks also the marketing portion of AI and the insights portion of AI. So I think you're spot on that observation that it's an enterprise thing. It's not just a departmental thing.
Yeah, and maybe it'll even break down some of the silos that we've talked about before. I mean, look at your role. I mean, you have sales, marketing, R&D, and so on. And I'm sure that one fuels the other when it comes to insights. And if you can align them, through technology, that's only got to be a help.
Of
Um,
course, of course.
let me. You have another passion, which is less. I mean, I know you have many, but which
Perfect.
is less tech driven, and that's building purpose driven brands. Obviously that I care a lot about this, and like every issue, things go through evolutions. And I think we're probably moving into, if you want to call it purpose 2.0 or 3.0 or whatever it is, as we get more knowledgeable about it, use more about it. And there seems to be a little bit of backlash right now. I don't know if you want to call it purpose washing. I don't know if people were just trying to check the box on purpose and not do the work on it. I'm not sure. But that said, give us your
Of course.
feeling about it.
I think purposeful marketing is the biggest misunderstanding in the world of marketing. Like we it's a huge giant misunderstanding. Let me qualify why I'm saying this. I think there's the mass confusion between doing serving a purpose for the brand and confusing that with political ideology or saving the world. Purposeful brands are neither political nor saving the world per se. Having a purpose, meaning having a clear understanding of what your brand stands for, something that has meaning to the audience that you're talking to and that you're interested in interacting with, and actively doing that and sharing that and fueling that for them. This could very well be sports. Having brands that are just fueling sports or fueling fun or entertaining people. Entertainment is a purpose. You're not saving the world, you're providing entertainment, and that's a purpose. So if you have a brand, for example, that its purpose is to bring a laughter to people and lighten their mood, that is a very purposeful brand. Sure, you could have a brand that its purpose is to do everything in a green way, or help advance the causes of society and all kind of course, but that's not just that. And people, I think, are confused and think that every brand needs to have a societal purpose and a political point of view. Nope, there is no role in brand. In 99% of brands, there is no role of politics, and there is and for a lot of them, there might have nothing to do with society or saving the planet. Um, so I'm trying my best to clarify this, because marketers get into that very often, and I think this is what's causing the backlash. Is when you have brands now, all of a sudden everybody has to have a political take on things, and usually when you take a take, it's the extreme, right? That generates a lot of unnecessary friction, frustration, and a brand is not a human. A brand is a brand. It's a compilation of humans. It's a compilation of a group. And there's so many examples. It's the examples in the companies that I worked for, with the Pepsi examples. There's other examples in other companies like Bud Light and the whole situation with Anheuser-Busch. There's and again, there is some brands, some very few brands that were created like this from day one. That's who they're talking to. It's like Ben and Jerry's is a good example of that. Great, fine. That brand has license to do that stuff because that's who they're talking to and that's what they want to do and that's their audience. But not every brand needs to be political, and not every brand has to save the world. Um, all I'm advocating for is that a marketer understands what the brand stands for, what are the passion points of the people that it talks to, and being part of their everyday life and sharing those passion points. And if it's drone racing, hooray. If it is gaming, hooray. Let's have a brand be all about gaming. That is a purposeful brand. It makes the lives of gamers easier, better. That's what Mandu used to do, right? So that's where I'm coming from. I'm not coming from politics. I'm staying the hell out of politics with the brands that I interact with. I'm staying the hell out of politics, and I work with our team to advance things that we feel are relevant to the brand. So that's what I would like to say about it.
So now let me put you on the spot. What is the Sunny Sky purpose?
The Sun Sky purpose is to bring taste to people. Make your day just a tiny bit tastier and more enjoyable. Quench your thirst, satisfy your craving. Just bring that to people. We do great beverages. We do them very tasty. We do them, clean labeled. We try to be as good as we can in terms of the fundamentals, in terms of the functionals of the business. But that's what we do. We bring taste and joy to people, and that's what we're known for, and that's what we're good at, and that's what we'll continue doing.
Yeah, I guess it goes back to the value of the product. And that's and then you find, the lane that works. You're also doing something else that I think is quite remarkable, in that your MBA came from the University of Miami, but you also chair the school. You also chair the school's marketing advisory board.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what young people in marketing are thinking about today, what their biggest interests are, what you recommend to them. How do their professors motivate them? I mean, I'd love to hear that.
No, awesome. My biggest passion point, love, I love people, I love leadership, I love developing and growing talent. So there's no better place to do that than in a university setting, in a college. I absolutely encourage every marketer out there, go get involved with your alma mater, go to guest lectures, be part of boards, just give back to the university. Some of the things that the university gave to you, the joy of looking at the young students interacting, answering their questions, seeing the passion, the flair that they have. This is like, it's awesome. I recommend it for everybody. What I see young people crave for, I think fits in two camps. There's the one camp where they're trying to understand how to make it work, like what is it in the career choices, what is in the personal choices, how do people create a career. So there's that anxiety of, am I going to make it, how am I going to make it, what do I need to do. So there's a lot of nuggets there that they're asking for. And then there's the pure nugget of the curiosity to understand how marketing really works day to day. So the questions that they ask are always very pointed. They're trying to get to the bottom of, but how you did this, how did you do that. They're less interested about the theory, which is a lot of what they get at school, and they're interested about the very practical application of those things that they're trying to learn. And that's what we try at the University of Miami to do with the help of the professors and the rest of the advisory board. We're steering a lot of the curriculum towards more practical application of things, whether there's many classes now, to be frank, that they're almost acting like an advertising agency, like a consulting, like literally you could hire the class to do stuff for you, right? Which gives them real life experience with the oversight of the professor and puts them into the real world and doing things for real brands that have real application. That's the best way to learn if you're part of the actual business world. And we try to do that a lot in the University of Miami. I salute the school. The school has been doing great. It's been climbing the rankings. So great work from the faculty there, great work from the new dean. And that's what we steer the conversation towards, more real life stuff, more practical applications. And of course, we always tell them technology, financial literacy, like you got to freaking understand what a P&L is if you're going to graduate from a bachelor BA in marketing. Like you have to understand the financials, right? So technology, financials, and entrepreneurship are the three pillars that we believe in, and do that in a practical way and apply it as much in real life as you can. I think that's where we're steering the school, and that's where we're finding success.
Well, it sounds like not only students need that, I think there's a lot of adults who need a refresher course in that. So
True, true.
although we could talk all day, and I think we have in the past, but let me just ask two quick questions as kind of summary here. Given all your experience and how varied it is and how multinational it is, what do you believe the biggest challenges are right now for the business of marketing? And at the same time, what do you see as the biggest opportunities?
Yeah, I think two big buckets of challenges that we have to address very quickly. Um, One is figure out the whole technology AI piece and not get panicked over it. I see people just panic on it. Just figure it out, just work with it, learn how to bring it into our everyday life, and learn how to make our marketing departments, sales departments, R&D departments, make them all much more productive with the leverage of technology, and make them move faster and with deeper insights rather than being scared of how we're going to use it. So figuring out the whole tech AI piece, big piece. Lots of very smart people are working on it. We'll continue working on it, and we'll see, where that gets us. But I can see the light at the end of the tunnel of this one. The changes are going to be pretty drastic as those models become better and better. The second piece is just break through the clutter. Like take out all of the noise. That's a very US thing. There's a lot of noise happening in the US with politics and polarization. Like break through that noise, break through the clutter, and just as we said before, bring the brand communication, messaging, and storytelling back to the roots of what the brand purpose is. Like stick to that, stick to what the brand does best, talk about what the brand role is, break through the clutter. There's just too much noise, there's too much polarization, there's too many things that are happening. We can't get involved as brands in those things. So take a step back, focus, get much more purposeful, and understand how that works, and then do that leveraging AI technology, not being afraid of it, bringing it in, embedding it, not always listening to legal, which has 1,500,000 reasons of why you should not use AI. There's ways to figure it out if you have the right legal partners. So that's the two challenges that I see for marketing, and those at the same time are opportunities, because it is proven time after time that marketers are ahead of the curve, and companies and brands that try things and do things differently and more innovative are the ones that are winning. Just like that is like almost an axiom at this point. So just take that playbook and execute it. And I think that's the biggest opportunities that the marketers have, is doing those things right will only accelerate growth.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, and I know that you'll be on the journey helping us navigate it. So last question: what's next for you in Sunny Sky?
Good things are ahead. I've been hearing. I intend to be here a lot more years. I think the company, as I said, is a mid cap company that's growing very fast. I think we have a lot of room to grow. A lot of room to penetrate more in dining, hospitality, and leisure market. In the enterprise and specialty, we're doing great at C-store, great at healthcare. So, what is next is just continue to funnel my passion for developing teams and for developing people, and doing that in an environment that's very family friendly, that's very family oriented. We are all, we're big enough to have the resources to do things right and do big things, and we're small enough where we're not a number. We are a Manos and a Deb and a John, and so we're all like friends. We're all a family atmosphere. We're all unique individuals. So putting in place those processes, building that talent within Sunny Sky, and getting the company to the next level and then to the level after that is what I'm really looking forward to. And I think we're on the right trajectory, and things are happening very fast, which is great. So we'll keep at it and see where it takes us. You never know. You never know.
And
You've seen
well,
people all over the world, so I never know what's going to happen next, but I have a good feeling about this one.
that's great. I'm very excited for you. And also, I mean, the expertise that you bring, I mean, it's just wonderful to hear. It's almost like getting a refresher course, in the passion of marketing. So with that, let's say to be continued, because we want to keep up with you. And
Of
thank
course.
you so much, and all the best. And I'm sure everybody's going to be listening for your speech next week.
Thank you. See you all next week. Thank you
All
very much.
right. Take care. All right. Bye. The Internationalist focuses on the continual reinvention of marketing by highlighting inspirational marketers around the world and their ideas as they move the industry forward. Internationalist Marketing TV shares these perspectives through interviews and personal stories. Thanks so much for watching. If you find this kind of content helpful, please click like or subscribe. Again, thanks so much.